Good evening, everyone, once again. My name is Nke Chukwufunaya Ugbo, and I'm the moderator of today's session. On the panel with me, I have the timekeeper, who is Olusegun Okedeji. I hope I pronounced that right. And the grammarian in the person of Bamidele Olatunji. These persons be they'll be with me. They'll be on the panel with me today, scoring the grammar and monitoring each person's time. Please take note that for the grammarian, we're looking at for 3 words. Each speaker should please take note of this. And the words for today are incentivize, exponential, and underline. These words have to occur in your speech for you to get the points allotted for grammar. And the time allotted for each speaker is 10 minutes. So if you exceed your 10 minutes, you'll be losing some points. You'll be losing some points. So please use your time. Just manage your time. Use your time well so that you don't exceed the allotted 10 minutes for today's speaking. Having said that, what's our topic of discussion? So the topic for today is we're looking at the quote by Jim Twigg. And the quote says, "We're no longer being paid for our muscle power. We're being paid for our brain power. We're not paid for our brute strength. We are being paid for our brain strength. We're not paid for our mind power. We are paid for our mind power." So that's a quote by Jim Twigg. So you're either supporting, against, or sitting on the fence. Yes, for this is the first time I'm saying that you can sit on the fence in the debate, but it's good thing we have that opportunity here. So please, whatever point or whatever stance you're taking, please let us know. And whatever stance you're taking, please let us know your stance, and we'll take it off. You introduce your stance to us and we'll take it off from there. So I'd like to ask at this point, do we have anyone willing to go first, or you want me to just call names based on how they appear on the participants page? Yeah, so I was actually going to call you because you had the Google and all of that. So maybe you're ready and you just
Okay. Okay, I'll give it a shot. Let me give it a shot. Okay. Is my time starting?
So what's the name, please?
My name is Eagle Abisini.
Your time starts now.
We're now being paid for brain power and not muscle power. Let me tell you about John. John started his career as a factory worker, relying on sheer muscle power to earn a living. It definitely was exhausting, it was repetitive, and paid just enough to get by. But John didn't stop there. He invested time in learning programming, shaping his mind instead of his muscles. Today, 2024, John works remotely as a software developer, earning 5 times what he had made before, with freedom to work from anywhere in the world. John's story reflects a truth we can no longer ignore, because in today's world, we're now being paid for our brain power and not our muscle power. I stand firmly in support of the motion that we're now being paid for brain power. The evolution of our economy proves that intellectual ability is now far more valuable than physical strength. How, you may ask? Brain power drives progress. Today's jobs that rely on creativity, problem solving, and innovation dominate very many modern industries. Tech developers, engineers, analysts, these are the architects of progress, designing solutions like smartphones, renewable energy, and digital communication tools that shape our lives. According to the World Economic Forum, by 2025, 85 million jobs may be displaced by automation, but 97 million new roles will emerge. Roles requiring analytical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. There is clear evidence that brain power is now in higher demand than ever before. Higher pay for brain-based jobs, of course. Brain-focused jobs command significantly higher salaries. A programmer, a doctor, or a financial analyst earns exponentially more than someone in manual labor. For example, in the United States, the median salary for a software developer is around $120,000, while a construction laborer earns an average of $40,000 annually. Companies are now actively incentivizing brain power with higher pay and bonuses because it drives innovation and profitability. Automation is replacing muscle. The rise of machines and robotics has replaced tasks once dependent on physical strength. Assembly lines, warehouses, even farms now use advanced machineries, reducing the need for manual labor. On the other hand, roles in artificial intelligence, digital marketing, and software engineering are thriving. The modern economy rewards those who use their brain power to incentivize efficiency. The underlying impact on society. Brain power doesn't just improve our individual lives, it transforms the entire society as a whole. Consider the underlying impact of groundbreaking inventions like life-saving vaccines, renewable energy, digital platforms that connect the world. These innovations, products of human intellect, solve global challenges, improve our quality of life, and ensure sustainability for future generations. Now, we're not going to ignore the other side. While I strongly support brain power over muscle power, I must acknowledge that muscle strength has its own place in the world. Industries like construction, agriculture, sports, logistics rely on physical labor to keep our world running. However, even these roles are evolving to require more brain power. Construction workers now operate advanced machinery, which demand technical skills and critical thinking. Athletes now optimize their performance using science, strategy, and data analysis. Farmers of today use tools like precision agriculture technology to maximize yields with minimal physical efforts. This shift proves that muscle power, which still valuable, becomes far more effective when combined with brain power. The modern world does not force us to choose one over the other. It just asks us to use our intellect to amplify our physical capabilities. So, in closing, I leave you with this question. Would you rather rely on your strength, which has limits, or your mind, which has the potential to grow infinitely? The choice is yours, for the world has already decided, it seems.
So first, please, can we have the timekeeper tell her the time she used? And
All right, from our side here, she used 4 minutes, 37 seconds to wrap up all point. And that's what she used, 4 minutes, 37 seconds.
so please, do you have anyone willing to give evaluation? Okay, so maybe I should start so let others get in the flow. Okay, so first, Abby, I would like to comment how you speak. Your words are clear and very, very audible.
Thank you.
Yes. I think I was looking out for filler words. You didn't have them. But that could be probably because I think I could tell from here it was you actually had your speech rather written out, and so you were reading it out. That way it's easier to actually flow and cover up and not have filler words. So that
Right, so this is Bamdele speaking, and I would want to say that well done. You made use of the vocabulary of the day, the incentivize, underline, and exponential. I think you would have 3 points for that as written on my score sheet. And also you added to the timing and also the language usage. I liked the fact that you started with a story. It was really relatable. And then you brought good examples to portray and buttress your point. You also made use of facts. And I think I was actually looking out for facts. And also you made comparison with a wide array of fields. I think you compared it with agriculture, with this is a digital world, right? So you compared it with
digital world and construction.
Yes, use of AI technology, software developing, and all that. I think it was really profound. And lastly, you ended with the use of a rhetorical question. I felt that really resonated really well. So kudos to you. Well done.
Thanks
Those
so
are
much,
my
Bamdele.
observations. Yeah.
So my name is Jane Adele, and I'm here to speak on the topic. We are paid for brain power rather than brute strength. So let me start by saying I would love to ask a question. Let us reflect with me for a moment. Let's look at how things are presently and the way things used to be. Do you prefer the modern age to the ancient age? With the way things have advanced, do you prefer the modern age to the ancient age? That is my question. I believe we'll answer that question by the end of this talk. So one time, my grandmom told me a story. She said, "You wouldn't survive a second in my generation." She held her palms and she showed me her 4 fingers. And I looked at her 4 fingers. I was like, "Where's the 5th one?" She said an axe fell to her thumb while she was farming. And I was expecting she would keep a sad face. She said, "It didn't stop me. I continued. I kept farming." Because in those days, farming represented those who were doing well. So the more yams you had in your barn, the more rich or wealthy you were considered. But now technology has made life very easy. So I'd like to start by saying I strongly agree with the notion that we are paid for our brain power rather than brute strength. So let me say this. I want to categorize 4 different ages which we have come across as time has passed. Looking back in time, we started with gross resilience and then brute force. So I'd like to start with the agrarian age, where farming was prominent and brute force was absolute. The second age we had was the industrial age, where brute force was still dominant, but mental and technical know-how was necessary as well. Then the third age is the computer age, where mental strength became dominant and was used to televise industries and then leading to exponential growth. The last age, which presently we are in that age, is the artificial intelligence age. Here, mental strength would be absolute. Now, I'm not saying absolute to make brute force extinct. No, brute force is still necessary. The world needs balance, right? But if we look at it, the reason why brute force is still, what's the word? The reason why we still have brute force as one of the leading, how do I put this? I'm sorry, guys. The reason why we still have brute force as one of the leading methods in a lot of underdeveloped nations is because they have not been exposed to advancements. Pardon all of the terms. So here I want to say that we cannot compare a farmer who is still making use of the former methods to a farmer who is making use of, technologies, who is making use of advancement, like people who use drones to map out the farm and all of that, people who are using machine learning to detect diseases. We cannot compare both farmers. One is experiencing growth more than the others. I'm not saying that the other person is not experiencing growth, but you know that this person will use less effort while the other one uses more effort. Now we have come to that age where machines are reliable and somehow sadly replacing humans in some fields. Last week or so, Elon Musk said AI would surpass doctors and lawyers after ChatGPT topped in medical diagnosis. This doesn't go without proof, as a recent study revealed that ChatGPT-4 achieved 90% accuracy in diagnosing medical conditions, outperforming doctors who scored 94% without it. So let me talk about the brain power age. It cannot be overlooked. In as much as we live in a balanced world where brute force is necessary, the brain power age cannot be overlooked, as it is an underlying future for underdeveloped nations. This is grossly because the numerous benefits that comes with it includes, number one, higher incentives. Let's be sincere with ourselves. Brain power jobs tend to pay more. It comes with higher incentives. We are likely to, a person is likely to earn more when you get the modern skills or technical know-hows needed to survive in this generation. You're likely to earn 6 figures and above. We have exponential growth. Brain power has supported technology and artificial intelligence, and then has helped individuals grow exponentially. And the beautiful thing about brain power is that you can reach millions through technology. Just look at us now. We are not in the same place, but we are having this meeting. We are learning, we are growing, we are advancing, but we are not in the same place. The last one is geographical flexibility, which is just what I just said. So there are more underlying remote jobs than ever in the world today. In advanced nations, over 80% of people work remotely since the COVID pandemic, and 96% of these jobs are brain power jobs. This allows you to flexibly work without reporting to your designated location. This is not saying that, like I said at the beginning, this is not saying that brain power is better without brute force. Of course, definitely, the world needs balance. But I would like to advise youths, especially those in Africa, that they should go ahead and learn skills that are in alignment with their values, in alignment with the things they love and the things they are drawn to, especially ways they can prefer solution. For example, I have a friend who is into farming. She loves farming. She loves agriculture. And I see her every day work hard enough to ensure that she brings up new ideas to make plants, pests, and crops reduce in farms. She's solving problem with using technical know-how. Lastly, nobody likes sufferhead. So let's choose smart work and leave too much work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane, for your presentation. Thank you. You really had me hooked and interested in what you were saying.
For Tammy here, she used 6 minutes, 26 seconds.
All right, so for the grammar, I'm supposed to score based on language usage, use or non-use of filler words, adherence to the vocabulary of the day. And I think I'll be more particular about the vocabulary of the day. She actually used the 3 keywords: incentivize, exponential, and underline. I got that and I noted them down. Although she used some filler words, and she apologized because I think she found her voice back, and then she was able to get right on track. So for me, it's still a 3 points. Still 3 points. The same way I gave comments on Abby's speech. I like the fact that she started with the story and she compared brain power and brute power. And she used this present and past analogy, and it really resonated with me as well. And also, she gave an advice. I took like the advice at the end that, as youths or as young persons, it's just better to have a skill or learn some certain set of skills that you are good with or you are good at, so that you can maximize, the pool of the brain power. Choose smart work instead of suffered, something along those lines. I think it stood out for me. But the question I have is, maybe I should just delve into my question. So the question I also have is, she started with she strongly agrees that I think brain power is, I can't remember the exact topic now, but I think at the end she kind of sat at the fence for me, because I think she was trying to play safe in not exterminating the advantages or the benefits of brute power. But I feel like if you've already started with strongly agree that brain power is, for instance, like, I'm trying to paraphrase the topic now, is, let's say, more advantageous or better than brute power, you should stick to that till the very end. So I wanted to ask her why she at the end combined the two together. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think I can answer your question. So if you the notes that came with today's session said you're allowed to sit on the fence. I think when I was doing the introduction, I said that, well, this is the first debate I'm saying that you're allowed to sit on the fence. So you're either supporting, against, or sitting on the fence.
Today's topic, which is we're no longer being paid for our muscle power, we are now being paid for brain power. Okay, my own, sorry, I would like to say this first. I would like to sit on the fence because I believe that as much as we need brain power, we also need brute force and physical labor, because okay, now we're relying on technology and all, but we should also like remember that just a few years ago, if not okay, a few years ago, decades ago, we're not relying on technology like this. The fact that, okay, let me make this example. 200 years ago, the first computer was invented, right? It was like this big computer in a big room that had like so many people operating it. But today we have phones, smallest computers, artificial intelligence, talking to robots and stuff like that. So imagine where we'll be in the next 100 years. So I'm like, even if brain power is very important, the letter is still so important. It's like one cannot do without the other. It's like a balance, right? So if we say that brain power is more important than the other one, why don't think of those people that are staying in the rural areas, like they mostly depend on brute force than brain power, but those that are staying in civilized area, uh in the cities also like rely on technology and brain power. Not today, remote jobs and jobs that require intellectuals and all are very very rampant in today's world. But in the other side of the world, countries are not well developed, well civilized. Back at the villages, they rely on this brute force. So this summer I traveled to Castina for my holiday, and I can tell you that it's like a very different life there. And the amount of farmlands you will see is like the farming there is just so like they literally depend on it. They're not as well as they're not well advanced as here, like I'm sorry, they're not as advanced as we are here, or you understand what I'm trying to say. So like for them there, our technology won't do them as much good as it will do us here, right? And although in today's world the technology and the brain power is exponentially increasing, right? The demand for intellectual skills is also increasing, but it's not everyone. It's like divided into like it depends on where you're staying and stuff like that. Then really, so brain power also like is associated with its thinking, problem solving, creativity. These jobs offer higher pay, better benefit, and more flexibility. But not everyone can get a remote job. And on the other hand, physical labor, while obviously essential, is not as valued financially in today's economy. But that doesn't mean that it's not still valued at the same time, right? And I don't know, like, we're in 2024, so around 200 years ago, even before the computer was invented, they had to rely on their brute force. Then before then, they had to like, so it's like I understand that we are like advancing years by years, decades by decades, and all. But I just feel that no matter how much we advance, even in dystopia or utopia, there will always be a need for that brute force. Sure, robots can build our companies, robots can build our houses, they can do every basic manual labors like the technology, like using technologies for farming and all. But at the end of the day, I still think that physical labor is still like very important, even though brain part is also important.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, timekeeper, could you tell us how many minutes you used?
4 minutes, 16 seconds.
The grammarian, Mr. Bamidele.
All right, thank you very much. I listened closely and I do not seem to have heard any of the vocabularies that were listed out. That is incentivize, underline, and exponential. I don't think I got that. Or did anybody hear those three words? Maybe I missed out on that because I did not.
Well, I think I had one.
Okay, all right. Then, okay. Now that means I would have to give her 1 point then because it constitutes 3.
I want to call on the timekeeper to give an evaluation. What do you think about Raimat's speech? Mr. Olusegun.
All right. Yes. I've found out that there's a lot of apologies during our speech. I'm sorry. I think probably she needs to work on that. and gather her thoughts together before the speech. I think that would work for her. She should be able to gather a point by point together rather than telling your audience you're sorry. It shows that probably you were not prepared, or probably you are not sure of the topic you're talking about. So probably what can prevent that if she's able to work on that before the presentation, putting her thought together.
I was saying that today we live in a world where brain power is superseding brute strength. Or how would you explain a manager who earns more than a laborer, or you have a CEO who earns more than his factory worker? So these examples are actually replete everywhere in the society. My stance is well, by the time I'm done with my speech, I'll let you know my stance is on whether brain power or brute strength. I'd like to use an example of a home. So in a home, you have a father, mother. That's what's expected, typical. Father, mother, then you have the children, if they have children. But you have the father sometimes who goes to work. That's I'm using a traditional setting, an expected setting, and you have a mother who is either home or working from home. Or using myself as an example, I work from home. So it doesn't stop me from the things I do at home, the things I do with physical strength, like cleaning, cooking, shopping, washing, and all of that, compared to the things I work from home where I use my mental strength. So definitely nobody pays me for cooking, washing, and all of that, but I'm being paid for using my mental strength when I do consultations for schools, and when I teach online, when I do proofreading and editing. All of that comes from my mental strength, and I'm being paid for it. With comparing that to the things I do with my physical strength, I don't get paid for that. I know that the world right now is actually appreciating and paying people more for their mental strength, for their mental capacity more than their physical strength. But I like to sit on the fence and say that you need both to effectively and efficiently run any organization, any home, or any company. Because for the CEO who earns more than his laborer or his factory worker, the money is actually able to talk about. The money that comes into the company comes from the work that the laborer, the man at the end of the work, at the end of the organogram, the what he does, that's how they get their money. He's actually doing production, shipping things, transporting them to the distributors or to the marketers. That all of that is being done by the man at the end of the organogram, while the CEO takes the credit, he gets the money, is being paid the largest share, probably has a share in the company, but the laborer who does all of the hard work, you don't get to find is not it doesn't have his incentive commensurate with the level of work he actually puts into the company. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going to say, that's why I'm standing on the point that you need both brute strength and you need both brain power to effectively and efficiently run any organization. I think for me, what I would like to advocate is that we look for how to bridge the gap between the exponential difference between what the CEO earns and what the labor person earns. Another example, yes, labor person earns. You also have a case of a manager who oversees the laborer. The laborer who is being paid money based on number of cement, number of bricks, number of blocks is able to carry it per day. So his incentive is based on how much of energy, how much of strength is able to put into that work. But his pay, it doesn't show. It's not commensurate at all. Whereas you have a manager who probably has like 3 or 4 projects he's executing, overseeing on a daily basis, and he just comes to this particular site, he goes there and he, okay, this you're not doing well, this you're not doing well, this you're not, just gives correction. He's not lifting an arm and a leg to give the correction. He just based on observation. Then he goes to another site, he gives the same correction. He has like 2 or 3 that he does like that he has overseen in a day. Definitely the pay is out of this world. Let me not say out of this world, but at least the pay is commensurate with can I even say commensurate? Well, the pay is exponential. It's obvious with what he does. Whereas the laborer who is using all of his strength and all of that, he can't really boast of that amount of incentive. So I think I'm advocating that brute strength, brain power, you need both to efficiently and effectively run any organization. And I'm also advocating that we look for how to bridge the gap within the pay for the man at the end of the organogram is pay. Let it be increased so that it at least comes up to something he can boast of. Thank you very much.
All right. She used the 5 minutes, 30 seconds. 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
The grammarian, please. Use of words and yes, use of words.
Yes, you added to the use of the vocabulary. So yeah, it's a 3 points for me.
Okay, so anyone willing to tell me what to work on, the pros and the cons, what I should improve on, please?
I think so the fillers also need to be watched and notified. There are much of fillers sometimes, so they also need to be watched.
All right, so I would like to comment on the speech. I actually followed through, and it was actually nice. And I love the fact that you compared both brute strength and brain power, and the fact that both are actually needed, So that's my evaluation. Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Olusegun Okereje. I want to share with you a tale that captures our discussion this evening. That is the brain challenge versus the muscle challenge. Let me quickly take you through a short story. There's in a village down in the north. Adamu was known for his muscle power as a blacksmith. The hitting of the blacksmith that makes his muscle bulge, and everybody knows that this is a powerful person. And the other side is Bello. Bello is a scholar, intellect, and very, very intelligent. But one day, just one day in the town, there was a crisis whereby the rivers that links them to the other city for their market and commercial was under problem, the challenge. And the challenges was that a log of wood was standing, blocking the water from flowing. Then the only person they can call on was Adamu, who is a blacksmith and very bulky personnel. Adamu was able to single-handedly use his axe to cut the tree and the log from the water, and the water was able to flow. But as soon as they were jubilating, saying, yes, we're able to conquer these logs of wood was at the front also block the entrance of the water down to the stream. And Bello was called upon. What can we do? Then Bello sat down and strategized that we can use crane to remove all these pieces of log of wood from not allowing the water to flow, which can cause flood. And definitely it works. Now, this brings us to the point, and the underlying issue here is that the immediate solution and the long-term solution. The long-term solution which the brain power was able to bring for them so that this will not occur again. And the immediate solution that the power, the muscle powers was brought in by Adamu. This gives us and teaches us that two of them can work hands in hands, and they can complement each other. If you look at brain power today, we say brain power is the kind of power you use physically to solve some challenges or problems, where you use your mind to also solve using your brain to solve some intellect and some other thinking that can bring solution to a problem. Looking at the two together and giving you the analysis of the two of them, the advantage and the disadvantage of them, by the end of the day, we're able to know definitely that the two of them can definitely complement each other, because there's no point having a brain and no physical power, because you can't sit down and think and try to come up with a solution without somebody executing that problem, executing what you have in your brain. If you look at the world today, countries, most of the countries that are exponentially developed or increase exponentially, you find out that they have combined the power of brain and muscle together for them to be able to come to where they are today. And definitely, two of them has to run pari passu and work together. And don't also forget that the underlying factor we are looking at here is the immediate solution and the long-term solution. There's no way we can talk about immediate solution where we will not talk about long-term solution, because definitely, if we have immediate solution, definitely there will be some problem that will occur later in the future. And that is why the brain power also comes in. And that's why I say when I open the show that two of them work pari passu, they work together without moving one point away from the other. And also, when you say you have power, muscle power without a brain, you find out that we're just hammering on one point over and over and over time without coming up with an intellect, with a thinking solution that can come with it. Because there's some problems that only you just come with a strategy that can work and that can definitely solve the problem. And that's why when you see some factors today, factories, the companies, industrialization that we have in the world today, somebody is sitting down somewhere thinking, strategizing on how to solve a problem or to come up with a solution or a product or service. Definitely, it will need the hands of those ones that have the muscle power to execute those things. Because anyway, that is how they are being incentivized so that they can do more. Know that yes, we can contribute our power, our muscle power to this contribution of the company. I can move the company forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you surely that there's no one without one. Two of them work in hands together. And you will definitely agree with me. There's no minus from one, and there's no minus from other. They just have to work together. And that is what will create solution, moving a particular problem, solving a particular problem and moving it forward to attire and to attain a desired solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olusegun. Your voice is quite captivating. So please, I hope you timed yourself though.
From my side, yeah, 6 minutes, 41 seconds from my side there.
Okay, Mr. Bamidele, the mic is yours now.
All right. Just like Nkechi said, your voice is really captivated. And yes, I like the fact that you brought in the fact that both brain power and brute strength can be made use together in the sense that they work hand in hand. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that they are mutually exclusive. And also you provided a solution. I think the end goal is that you're solving a problem, whether it is brain power or brute strength. The end goal is that you're solving a problem. And for adherence to the usage of the vocabulary, yes, you adhered to all three words. Thank you very much. So 3 points.
So that will be all presentations that we can for today. So I'm just going to read out the points for each participant for today. For some persons, because they just attended, they'll get the attendance point of 1. Abby, who spoke first, had a total of 6 points. Jane, okay. Before I continue, I'm giving Jane an opportunity to give an evaluation. So if I can give you a total points. Jane, would you like to give an evaluation? Or Mr. Olusegun's?
Yes.
Okay.
I love the fact that he started with storytelling, because in today's world, to get or grab people's attention, you need to tell stories to entice their imagination. Also, I love his voice. His voice texture is nice. So those are the two things I would talk about. He adhered to a lot of the rules that were given. So yeah, these are the two things I'll talk about.
Oh, sorry, Abby. Yes, you haven't evaluated anyone. Okay, so you have the floor now.
Okay. So first off, I like the idea of the storytelling. So the storytelling carried the entire conversation, which is very good. Your stance was clear, so it's neither here nor there. You're advocating for both. Your voice, everybody's talking about your voice. So your voice is indeed listenable. I think that's about it. The other parts you should work on, not really. I'm not sure how we got to 6 minutes. It just showed that we're all listening and just, following along with the story. So yeah, that's about it from me.
Thank you very much, Abby, for your constructive criticism. So I'll be reading out the points again. Abby has a total of 8 points. Jane, the second speaker, also had a total of 8 points. Raimat has 6 points. Nkechi has 8 points. Olusegun has 8 points. And Bamidele, for evaluating and questioning, you also have 4 points.